Okie dokie. So, try and get that to balance. So how are you, Mr. Landy? Just for the
I'm
record.
fine. Thank you very much for asking, Georgina.
Oh god. Right. Okay, so the first thing I think I'd probably better ask is, what are you doing at the minute to do with the books?
Writing them.
Writing them.
Yes.
Expand a little
Writing
bit.
writing the ninth one.
Yep.
Um, got about a little over 10,000 words done
Ooh.
on it.
It.
Haven't yet written one word from Skulduggery himself.
Whoa.
Um, I'm dealing with other aspects first, and then I'll go back and write the first chapter.
Right.
At the moment, it's little snippets of conversation
Ooh.
uh, that will, and once I have those snippets of conversation and I realize what the conversations are about, then I'll be able to figure out what the story is about. And that's how I come up with stories.
Really?
I just let the characters talk until they tell me what it is they want to actually say.
So you don't actually know what the story of the book is yet?
I know what the plot is.
Right.
Don't know what the story is.
Right.
Uh, no, wait, sorry. I know what the story is. I don't know what the plot is. The
Right.
story is the character's story. The plot is something different. That's actually what happens chapter by chapter. But I know the story. I know where the characters need to go.
Okay. Good, good. Just so we know how much of our hearts are going to break soon. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, how heartbroken are we going to be? Are we allowed to say, or...?
To be honest, you see, with this one, I don't really know because I don't know who lives or dies. I mean, I've said this from the very beginning. I don't know how the series ends.
Ooh.
So I don't know what will happen. Will Darkest triumph? Will Skulduggery fall? I don't know. I know everything that happens up to a certain point near the end,
Mm-hmm.
and then I don't know what happens.
That's
So
scary.
with Last Stand, I knew by the halfway point I would have people wanting to kill me. And it pretty much worked out exactly as I'd planned. But with this one, it's not so clear because this is the one that I've been avoiding thinking about for the longest time because I don't really want the series to end. So because I don't want to say goodbye to Valkyrie and Skulduggery.
I don't think anybody
Oh,
does, so...
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So no, I just have to take it as it comes, basically.
Well, that should be certainly interesting, and I mean, we're all crying over the fact that the series is going to end, but one of the most popular questions for you is, you're going to be writing something else. Everyone wants to know what you're going to be doing next.
Whatever it is, it'll be really well written.
Obviously.
Yeah. I don't know. I've got about five or six ideas.
5 or 6.
Five or six ideas that for different trilogies, because the trilogy is the thing now. I'm not going to commit myself to another 9 books.
That would be quite insane.
That's huge. I'm really glad I did it with Skulduggery because if I had gone to HarperCollins with a trilogy, it would have been over in 2010.
I wouldn't have even found the books by then. You wouldn't have even had me by then.
Exactly. So I'm really glad I said at the start 9 books because I didn't know what it would mean. I didn't know what it would entail. I didn't know the work involved, not only in the writing of it, but also in the touring and the publicity and the business and just all the things that as a writer you don't take into account. Because when you want to be a writer, when you're struggling writer, all you think about is writing. You don't think about the time spent away in hotel rooms, on airplanes. You don't really want to. But yeah. So I didn't really know what I was getting myself into with 9 books. But the next series will be whatever it is, whichever one of the 5 or 6 ideas are strongest, it'll be 3 books.
3 books, definitely. So, what do you think? What sort of area are you going to be into? Like, is it going to be the same kind of fantasy or a different genre?
Same kind of fantasy, the same kind of mix of genres. You see, with Skulduggery, I really spoiled myself because I indulged in I made it exactly what I wanted it to be. I made up my own genre where I could have everything. And because of that, because I've kept it interesting and because I've kept it changing, I've been able to write 9 books without getting bored. So whatever the new series is, the new trilogy, it'll have to be something that ticks all of those boxes because I don't want to get bored. So yeah, it'll be fantasy, it'll be action, it'll be horror, it'll be that kind of comedy. Um, yeah, it's basically just a load of funny people doing horrible, horrible things to each other. That's what I do.
It's what you do. You terrify everybody. So,
Yeah.
I'm going to start looking at the questions that people submitted because
Okay.
plainly I have a lot of them. So, the first one that I think is probably important is a lot of people want to know where you got the idea for Skulduggery from. It's one of your most popular questions, I know, but where did you get the idea and who inspired you and what inspired you to write it?
That is one of the big questions, and the unfortunate answer is I don't know. The boring answer is that you can't really know, unless. Okay, I can tell you where I got the idea for my first movie, Dead Bodies. That whole film came from a line I misheard from the very similar and superior movie Shallow Grave. I misheard one line
Wow.
and I rewound it and I went, oh my God, wow. But it was completely different. The line was completely different. And duh. But as it went on, I kept thinking about that line I misheard. And that's an idea. So with something like that, that is how it started. Skulduggery, completely different. Skulduggery popped into my head in 2005. I was in my hotel room in London, very cheap, only one I could afford. Didn't have any money. Was living at home with the parents, working on the farm, and the idea just popped into my head. Just two words, two completely random words. You know, Skulduggery and Pleasant, and I just happen to have one of my books in my office.
Yeah, I can see that. It looks very organised behind you.
Yes, it is. I've got certain writer things like
Oh, it's so
Airman,
cute. Wow.
teddy bears.
Oh my god.
This is Tony Stark. This is so cute. And I put him beside me.
I should go sit somewhere more appropriate. That would be a good idea. Oh.
Um, yeah, so Skulduggery just pops in my head, and that's really it. I didn't really get the idea from anywhere.
So much better. Anyway.
um, yeah, he just popped into my head. The name popped in, told me who he was, what he was like. That's it.
That's it. So, where do you mostly write then? I can see it's probably in this room behind you, but where else do you write? Are you able to write in, say, coffee shops like J.K. Rowling did, or not?
I'm not. I write when I'm alone. I write when everything is quiet. I write when I don't have to worry about anyone else in the house, or think about them. I write here. I have Alex Barkley, very good friend of mine. She's written a load of crime novels and then her fantasy series, and she can write anywhere. She can write in hotel rooms. She can write on trains. She can write on planes. She can write in airports, in cafes. She can write anywhere, and I'd love to be able to do that, but I need to control my environment when I'm writing. So I write here, and only here.
That's nice. So, what characters, and particularly characters such as minor characters, You've left some alive that really shouldn't be alive, like Scarab. Why did you leave them alive? Is there a reason for that?
Scarab was left alive because, as Valkyrie says in the second trilogy, or maybe it's the third one, I can't remember. She's getting tired of killing people, or she's getting tired of people being killed. And I thought that was a very important point to get across, that for the reader, for the writer, it's action, it's horror, it's carnage, it's bloodthirsty. There are no prisoners. It's all this is how these books go. But for the people within the books, for Valkyrie, these are real people, and so the deaths are real deaths. And so I just thought about her, and I went, she would not be happy with this. She, as much as she admires Skulduggery and as much as she was becoming more and more like him, that's one aspect that she still views from a mortal's point of view, from a teenage girl's, from a reasonable person's point of view. Killing people is pretty wrong. There are exceptions. But killing people is wrong if you can help it. So that's something, and I didn't want to keep on killing my bad guys, because what does that mean? That every bad situation has to end with the death of your enemy? So the answer is no. Why can't I just imprison them? So I did.
Yeah.
Because if this were a pure sorcerer horror thing book, then the bad guy would probably die at the end of every single book. But because it's also a detective novel, the point of being a detective is to catch the bad guy, arrest him, and throw him in jail. And I really hate when there's bad guys in movies or TV, and you hate them so much, you hate them with such a passion, you want to see them caught, convicted, and rot in jail. And I hate when they die, because it's an easy way out. It's like, no, I don't want them to die, I want them to see them suffer. But yeah, so that's why I started to keep some of them alive.
Just for the pleasure of being able to torture.
Yeah.
So I suppose, leading on from that, actually, someone's asked me why you decided to torture Tanith as much as you did. It's your one thing that everyone seems to hate you for, and especially with the Remnant as well. So why did you choose to do that to poor Tanith?
Yeah, it's that's the other famous thing, because I wasn't allowed kill her in the first book. Well, I say I wasn't allowed. I wrote it, I killed her. My agent said, "Do you think that's the best idea?" And I agreed with her. I said, "No, you're probably right. It means you close the book. You're kind of on a downer instead of going, wait, that was cool." So I kept her alive. I said, "You do realize now that, because she isn't in my long-term plan for these books, A, I don't know what I'm going to do with her from book to book, but B, I can do anything, so I'm going to do anything." So I started to torture her, and the Remnant thing was just the purest extension of that. That's the worst thing I could do to her, apart from killing her, was to rob her of her self, to make her, to completely corrupt her. And there are a few characters like that I didn't intend to use again, like Billy Ray and Scapegrace, and all of these characters who have recurred they've changed the series from what it was originally going to be, and they've become so important. Like Tanith and Billy Ray in the 9th book are going to be very important.
Ooh.
And they wouldn't, if my agent had said, "Yeah, If she hadn't raised an objection, then Tanith would be dead. And if Tanith was dead, Billy Ray wouldn't be as close to the forefront of the stories as he is. So, you can look back and you can pinpoint, I can pinpoint as a writer, things that would be so different if certain characters were gone, or certain characters didn't remain, or if certain characters didn't take off in quite that way that they did. I can, like the reflection. If I hadn't introduced the reflection, the books would be completely different. If I hadn't brought Tanith back, completely different. If I hadn't got the remnant into Tanith, completely different. It's tempting, and it's easy from a reader's point of view to look at a series of books and go, these are the books. This is how they've always been. This is the only way they could possibly be. They exist in this form, and this perfect form that has its flaws, but it's a perfect book. As in it does all the things that a book should do. And no matter what, this is how the book was always meant to be. Completely wrong. Completely wrong. Up until the book is published, printed and published, it can be completely different.
It can be.
So it's kind of scary from that point of view, because I've been lucky enough to make some right moves, but if I make one really bad wrong move, then I'm screwed.
Indeed you are, because everyone will start hating you, and
yes, even more
than they already do.
But they won't hate me because of what I do to characters. They'll hate me because I let them down.
Yeah.
They'll hate me because the books have failed. The books have not been as good as they could have been. That is when I will lose readers, not because of what I do to their characters. If the book is good enough, it'll survive. If it's not, it'll fail.
So in that way, what do you think makes the series as good as it is? Apart from your excellent writing, obviously, what makes the series so unique and well received?
What makes this series so well received, I think I came along at the right time. My style was new. There still isn't anyone out there who writes the way I write. There are obviously some imitators, not that I've read any, because I don't really read a whole lot in this area, but I've seen the cover of books and they've gone, they've taken inspiration from Skulduggery, or they're trying to latch onto the Skulduggery readership.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely fine. But I came along when there was no one else out there like me. And I was lucky enough to have the attitude that certain people were after, and they didn't even know it. And I didn't know it, and the publishers certainly didn't know it. They took a huge chance. But I don't know. I mean, I've read books for younger readers, for young adults, for whatever, and they don't treat the audience like they should. They don't treat the audience with the amount of respect that they deserve. So I pretty much started off with humor and action and a great deal of violence, horror, and a respect for the audience that has just grown since then. So I think that's why the books have taken off. They just managed to connect with, the right people at the right time.
I think that's rather profound, actually, because many people consider your books to be sort of the life-changing thing for them, especially people like me and my friends, obviously. And many people also want to know, because it's the next, thing, the next stage, the film. How is that going?
Um, I really wish I could give news. I'm very close to giving news, but again, it's not the news that we're making it.
Hmm.
The next news I give will be the announcement of a deal.
Hmm.
Um, and we're negotiating now. We're ironing out the contract. So it'll be announced soon. It'll be announced, I would say, before Christmas. I'm aware that last Christmas I said the exact same thing.
Someone actually made note of that. If I look at the questions, someone said last year you said by Christmas there'd be news.
Yeah,
And you
yeah.
didn't give
I
us
was slightly wrong.
You were very, very wrong. It was... Who was it? Yeah, in a previous interview, you mentioned that by Christmas last year you'd be announcing some news about the film. How come that hasn't been done yet? And that was from Brian Lie, so he knew that you've been lying.
Brian has done his research.
Brian has done his research.
Yeah, I thought it. I was supremely confident that we would be able to announce something, but amazingly, I was proven wrong, and yet my thoughts on Hollywood were also proven right at the same time. Things progress slowly. Things progress slowly in Hollywood until they don't.
They don't.
Things progress slowly until they progress quickly. And when they progress quickly, they can progress very quickly. But up till that point, it's slow. And it's all about negotiations, contracts, lawyers, fine prints, getting the best deal. And when I say the best deal doesn't mean the most money for me. The best deal means as many guarantees as we can get that the film will be a good film. That's pretty much the only thing I care about.
Yeah, we all want the best film. We all want the best film. We don't want the bad film that Warner Brothers were planning.
Yeah. So no, I'm okay about delays. I mean, I'm okay if it never gets made. I would love if it got made. I would, but because I love movies. But if it doesn't, it's not going to break my heart because I have the books. The books are the thing. The books are the main thing. I wouldn't be overly upset if the books were the only thing. But because I love movies and because the script that I've written is really, really good, I would love to see it on screen. And, the thing is if the movie gets made, if it's a success, and we get the sequels, then the books will explode. The books will, reach an audience that is just haven't even heard of them yet, which is kind of scary.
Whoa, what happened?
Chaos.
Chaos everywhere. Ah.
You totally hung up.
I don't have your camera. It's gone.
Oh. Oh. Okay. Oh, yes, look at that.
There we go. Hello again. Sorry about that.
So, yeah, long story short, before Christmas, should have an answer. Script. But because, because we haven't even signed the contract yet, technically we're not even in development, and until we get the green light, there will be no auditions. So, you can ask all you want there, but there are no auditions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for that answer about the movie. I'm sure everyone who asked that question will be pleased about it, because I think there was about 12 people just asking that one question, so I'm sure they'll be happy with that. So, moving away from the film and the books, we're going to ask some questions about you, because some people are interested in who you are.
Okay.
Okay, so one of the biggest questions is obviously what would your taken name be, but you can't answer that, can you? But what can you tell us about your whole taken name?
I appear in the books.
You do.
I have a cameo appearance. I will not tell you who I am, what I can do. Um, I'm not Gordon.
Everyone thinks it is.
Not Gordon. But if I had the choice of what actual discipline I would be given,
Hmm.
then I would be either a elemental or a teleporter. Elemental because it's so cool
Obviously.
and fly, but teleporter because I think it's, when you think about it, it's the most powerful power out there. And amazingly, Fletcher has it.
Fletcher of
But,
all people.
Yeah.
Are we gonna see Fletcher in book 9 or not?
Yes. Yeah, I think anyone who isn't dead at the end of book 8, we'll probably be seeing in book 9.
Yeah, so that means that I'm definitely not gonna be in book 9 because
What?
I'm definitely not gonna be in book 9 because I cannot appear ever again.
What? I wanted you in the book. I put you in the book.
Yeah, you put me in the book and then you slaughtered me, which
How did
wasn't.
you die again?
I think I got stabbed or something, and oh no, I was burning in the black flames, and then I got shot twice in the head.
Oh, you did.
I did because you're just so mean to everybody. Oh God.
Yes, I am.
You are really. So fitting in with the same kind of thing. Do you see aspects of yourself in your characters or not? This was from Twain Bester.
Do I see aspects of myself and my characters? Every character is an aspect of the writer, to a degree. Even the nasty ones. But I don't really. I see more. Like Valkyrie is obviously based on my friend Laura. I see more of her than I do of me.
Yeah.
But that might just because I'm just too close to it, so I can't actually separate. But yeah.
You do see a few aspects.
A few. I mean, like I am the type of person to make jokes. I am the type of person to use humor in all sorts of situations, some appropriate and some completely inappropriate. And that is usually what my characters do. They make inappropriate jokes at inappropriate times. And I have been known to do that. So the approach to humor is the same between me and a few of the characters. And the approach to things like violence is the same. And friendship and duty. But as my personality, I don't know. I'm too close.
You're too close. So I'm moving around a bit because my laptop's running out, but it's all fine now. So some people have been sort of tying in the books with your world. If you were going to start a fight with somebody, would you actually say the sparrow flies south for winter when you were going to punch them or not?
If they were Skulduggery readers, yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Because then they go, oh, I recognize that, and then bam, like boss. That would be pretty cool.
They wouldn't even have time to react.
No, they just go, oh, I wonder if he's going to hit me now. And then I would.
You actually have quite a violent style, don't you, because of your Krav Maga training and all that?
Yes. Yeah, it's pretty horrible. I was one of my instructors He reads to books, and we just had a conversation there on Thursday. You know, because he's talking the how it's the style of fighting has changed so much in the first book, and now it's getting a lot more real and a lot more how we train, which is nice. It's fun for me.
It's fun for you, indeed. So, someone asked this question, and I'm not sure I agree, considering the fact that Ashen's dead. But why are you so awesome? Apparently. Why are you so awesome?
I'm awesome. I'm this awesome because someone has to be, and no one else was taking the job. And I said, you know what? It's got to be me. Oh, Kat, do you want to go out?
Cat?
Mammy Cat wants to go out. Hold on.
Okay, Cat gonna... Okay.
Come here, Cat. Okay, there you go. Good girl.
We have a break whilst Derek Landy clears out his cats.
Only one of them. There's another two somewhere about.
So yeah, cats. How many cats do you have? 3 cats?
3.
3 cats?
What was the question?
I don't know what I said. I was asking why you're so awesome.
Oh yeah. Well, you see, at the start, in 2006, I'd handed the book in, and it wouldn't be published until 2007. So we had a year to get the cover, to do the editing, to plan the marketing, and then to wait. So, you know, big, long year. It was a lot of fun. But I made the decision within in that year that who to be. And actually, this is something my editor pointed out, the deciding who to be is actually a big part of these books. At the end of the Maleficent's Heaven, Tanith is told she need not give in to her elements. She can be a good person. She just has to choose to be a good person. The reflection chooses to be a better person than it was, and it becomes Stephanie. Valkyrie chooses, Scapegrace chooses to be a hero. There's a lot of people choosing to change themselves, and that's what I did in 2006, because I chose to not be unawesome. I chose to be awesome. I chose, okay, you know, I've yet to do interviews, but when I do interviews, I'm going to be this person.
You're going to be this awesome person.
Yeah, when I'm on stage, I'm going to be this awesome person. When I'm on TV, radio, I'm going to be awesome. And it's a decision that I made, because arrogance is so much more fun than humility. It makes people relax. I hate false humility. I much prefer arrogance. It's so much more fun, so much funnier. Where I have very little time for humble. But yeah, it's a decision I made. And it's work. Like I was on the Alan Titchmarsh show, and John Barrowman was on it as well, and I was on it with some bloke from who won X Factor or something, and someone else, and John Barrowman, and we were all in a line. And before we went out there, and I was getting the makeup put on. I barely need makeup when I go on TV because I'm so gorgeous.
Obvious.
But everyone was saying, okay, now when John Barrowman speaks, when he's a guest on a show, you have to really work at being heard, because he's so charismatic. He's so vivacious. He takes over everything. He's so commanding. You know, he's so easy, casual, and funny and charming. So that they're all saying, so try as much as possible to say things. I go, okay, good, you know, right, whatever. And I was, you know, I was me, I was, you know, whatever, yeah. And we went for the rehearsal, which before the audience is brought in, I was sitting down and Alan was there, and none of the others had arrived yet, and so you know, we're just running through the timing for the cameras and for everyone else, and you know, and Alan is speaking to people in his earpiece. You know, okay, so now I'll talk to this guest and then that guest, and yeah, okay, then we'll cut here, and so he was going, okay, so Derek, I'm just going to be asking you a few questions, and you know, like, what do you think of this? And I gave him just a reasonable answer, you know, quick, you know, short, and I'm sure he thought, right, well, this guy, you know, you know, right, you know, at least we have John Barrowman. But then when the audience came in and we were live, and so all of the guests were there, we were all sitting down, you know, the seconds were counting down, you know, to come back from the ad break, you know, 5, 4, you know, we were all sitting, and, you know, the audience full of people. And that was, you know, that was me, and I was on. And, you know, so right before we went live, I just said, I just want to say to the audience, you are the best looking audience I have ever seen. And they all laughed. And from that moment, they were on my side. And so, like, Barrowman, he was on the end of the panel, and he barely got a word in.
Barrowman.
Yeah, Barrowman.
Fishing.
But that's a decision I made. I made the decision to be, you know, awesome, to not let myself be normal, to be better. Yeah.
Well, that's certainly interesting. And linking in with kind of John Barrowman, who was on Doctor Who, I have a question from, where's it gone? Becky Davis, and she wants to know whether you prefer a Stetson or a fez.
Stetsons look good on 11. Fezzes look better on 11. Stetsons would look better on me. Kat, do you want to come in again? Because you've just gone out. Seriously.
Seriously, get it right, man.
Another cat entirely. No, it's dark. I have no idea. Oh, it's not a cat. Stay right there. Mommy cat. So good to see you again. It's been ages. Because no, or just ignore me. Right, fine. Whatever.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry that.
Your cats seem to love you so much.
They're so unprofessional.
So, you think that a fez would look better on you then?
No, I think Fezzes would look better on 11. Stetsons look better on me.
Right, okay. Well, that's certainly something to think about if anyone wants to buy you a present in the future. We should do that. Gracie Moore wants to know what your favourite word is.
Phenomenon.
Phenomenon?
Phenomenon.
Just because it's
phenomenon.
Phenomenon.
Phenomenon. Phenomenon. Yeah, I like phenomenon. Yes. I've always liked phenomenon.
Just because of the way it sounds, or
yes,
the meaning,
yes,
or what?
Yes. Phenomenon.
Phenomenon. Cool.
Well, now I hate it, so.
Now you hate it just because we mentioned it. So, yeah, let's have a look. We have some character-related questions, if you don't mind. Okay, so, let's see. What would happen if Vorian Scapegrace and Wilhelm Scream had a fight, since they're both wusses?
Scapegrace amazingly would win.
Would he?
I think that is the only fight Scapegrace would actually win.
Wow. He actually wins something? That's quite amazing.
Yeah, that would be startling.
Why would he win? Would it be because of his massive boobs, or just because he looks good now, or...?
I think he's harder.
Yeah.
You know, he's just harder than, Than Wilhelm. I mean, Wilhelm is a wuss.
Wilhelm is a wuss.
Yeah.
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 I have a question that's quite weird, but I'm sure you'll know the answer. I'm sure you'll know it. Summer, who obviously admins the Facebook page, wants to know, and this is very specific, after Saracen and Aurora left the room on page 216 of the Maleficent 7, what did they do?
They did what you think they did.
They did what we think they did. Are you going to expand or just leave it to our imagination?
I'll leave it to your imagination.
So, linking in with Saracen, why is he such like, he went out with the Weird Sisters, he went out with Ashen as well, what's all that about?
He's not the, like, Vex would be, the physically impressive guy, the physically impressive guy. Saracen, he's got a way about him. He's got a twinkle in the eye, and he's got a cheeky smile, and he's the kind of guy who completely unassumingly just gets the girl. I had seven dead men, 9 in all, but 7 at any one time. And they just all needed to be different. They all needed to have their own thing. And obviously Skulduggery, Ghastly, they were identifiable because we know who they are. Shudder is the scary one. Vex is the adventurer. Then you have like Hopeless and Narracan. But the only other one that we see is Saracen, and because I decided early on not to specify what he could actually do, what his power was.
Are we ever going to learn what his power is? Probably not. Are we just going to have
Probably
this
not.
undefined power?
Yeah. Maybe I'll tell. No, I don't know.
You don't even know what it is, do you? You're not even going to be able to describe it yourself.
I do. I do know what it is. It kind of ties into, coming to the end of a 9-book series. Just the question: will I wrap up everything? Will I solve everything? Will I answer everything? Will I make sure everyone gets an ending? Will I write a chapter 20 years from now, like in Harry Potter, where everything is wrapped up? No, I won't.
You won't?
No.
Wow.
No, I want some stories to be left unfinished, some questions unanswered, some threads unraveled. It stops you because I'm stopping, because after 9 books I'm stopping, and I've seen the tidal wave of readers go, please don't stop, please don't stop, please. I've grown up with these books. Valkyrie has been with me every step of my teenage years. And I've seen that swelling up. And I think if I were to just stop everything cold, then it would be sadder. So if I leave things open, then in the heads of the readers, the characters, whoever are left alive, can keep on going. And they have their own event. They can walk off into the sunset to a whole new brand of event that we'll never ever see, but at least we know they're out there.
And at least we know that many of them are dead and don't have that possibility.
Well, that's life.
That's life. So, did you ever imagine, I think this was a question as well, did you ever imagine that many people would write sort of fan fiction, make fan videos, all that stuff? Did you imagine that'd happen?
No. It's interesting. The fan videos, and the videos, and then the art, then the effort that goes into the stories. It's and then the costumes that you see, and all this work, all this effort, and it's all because of something that was in my head at one stage, and it's just very, very weird, very, very, it's brilliant, it's gratifying, it's odd.
Weird.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah. I still don't really read that many stories. I'll read the very odd one of fan fiction. It's just reading fan fiction comes with its own set of problems. Not just for the writer and the story that he's still telling, but just, there's a whole culture developing around fan fiction that is almost completely separate from the writer of the original work. And there's controversies, and there's Twitter fights about. The one thing I hate is Twitter fights. It's just such a wussy thing to do.
Some people actually do that a lot, don't they?
Yeah. They get into arguments online, which is the best place to have an argument. Oh yeah. Yeah. Obviously there are writers out there who don't like fan fiction and who do not condone it, and they have a very good point. They've got a very strong point. But then there are others who welcome it and who endorse it, and they've got a very strong point. I'm happy that it's out there. And while I'm happy that it's out there, I'm also respecting it enough to stay away from it.
Yeah.
But it's the writing that you stay away from. Every few months I'll just go onto like a DeviantArt or whatever and just go through pictures. And I've got like a folder on my computer full of fan pictures that they've done, and the amazing stuff.
You should share a few on your blog. You should do that.
Yeah. In fact, I was sent a poster from.
Ooh, okay.
Where is it?
Amazing things about to happen, everybody.
This is a poster.
Yeah.
I was sent.
Whoa, that's really cool.
Is that amazing?
Who did that?
She has her name on. Oh, there she's there. Carolyn.
Carolyn. Wow. Well done, Carolyn. I'm sure.
Yeah, that's astonishing.
Where are you going to put that? Are you going to put that like pride of place somewhere?
Yeah, pretty much. I've got this wonderful idea to build an extension onto my house.
Yeah.
And when I do, I'm going to have like a wall of pictures.
So can we like contribute things to that? Are we allowed to do that?
That would be pretty cool.
Wow, we should do that. We should organise that.
A wall of Skulduggery.
A wall like ours, but more official. Like, we have some pretty insane walls, but yours would be pretty insane in itself.
Yes.
So, let's have a look at what other questions we've got. Someone's asking about the Bentley and whether it will survive until the end of the series, and what inspired it.
What inspired it was the fact that Skulduggery is a detective. He's a private eye. And so I wanted a car from the 40s or 50s. I chose the Bentley because there's something inherently classy about it. These days, not so much. You know, when you see footballers all driving Bentleys, it kind of robs a car of its class. But you know, back then, back in the 50s, it was a symbol. And as for whether or not it'll stay around, I think so. I realized, you know, maybe the fourth or fifth book that I was in dreadful danger of destroying the Bentley once and for all. So you will notice that I've taken it very easy on it. There's been very few chases, no crashes, no bullet hits. So I'm doing
One
my
more
best to keep it safe.
scratch. One more scratch, the mechanic said,
Exactly,
and it won't
and
be
if it does
repairable.
implode, yeah.
Oh, it's quite sad to think that the Bentley might not survive, or it might
Yeah.
survive.
You see, destroying it, that might be a hugely symbolic gesture. I don't know.
Don't even contemplate it, Landy. Don't even think about it. So, this is one that I'm sure, especially Ashley and just a couple of people might be interested in, but it's quite a nice one to think about. What breeds of horses does China ride?
I don't know.
What?
Laura knows.
Laura knows.
I asked her. Because all the horse stuff I run by her first.
Is she a fan of horse riding then? Does she?
Yeah, she rides horses.
Nice.
Yeah. So I asked her what ones would China breed, what one would she ride. So Laura told me. Just I've forgotten them because I don't know breeds of horses. But Laura does know.
Laura knows.
And that's all that matters.
Ugh. That's better. You can see me now. Yay. So are you going to ask Laura and then reveal to the world or not?
Don't know.
You don't know.
Don't know.
You don't know.
I was just chatting to her a few hours ago. Maybe if I think of it.
If you think of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, make sure you do think of it because people are interested to know these small ickle details. Like someone's
they're also really interested in knowing the exact heights of characters.
Someone's asked me what eye colour every single character's got. That's something that someone wanted me to ask
Why?
you. I don't know why.
There are some characters and all I see are their faces. I never get too close.
Yeah.
I don't think about eye colour. I know how tall they are in relation to each other. I don't know how tall they are standing alone.
You should think of these small things.
The how tall is this person? I don't know. How tall did I say the last was? Because I've forgotten that as well. Yeah, bizarre. Like, it's just okay. I'm not even going to ask why you want to know this. I don't think I'd like the answer. But yeah, odd people out there.
Yeah, there are odd people, but especially I think for me and Becky and that, we're making the Encyclopedia, so we need to know these small details. However,
the nerds.
we are. You wrote that. That was so rude. That was so rude. But anyway, some people do really want to know the small details, like every single thing about the characters. So, do you think that's a positive thing, or do you think it's just them being really picky?
I think it's a really positive thing. The thing is, the only issue is that sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I haven't never gotten that close to this character's face, so I could pinpoint their eye color. I just don't know, so I make it up.
You make it up.
Yeah, and actually, making it up. When you do interviews and they ask you questions about themes and about, symbology and what this means, what that means, what you meant when you wrote this. And, essentially you're making up your answer as you go along. But it doesn't make it any less valid. It's the first time you've thought about it. So when I'm asked eye color, when I'm asked height, just because I'm making it up right then and there doesn't mean it's any less valid than if I had it written on a notebook. It's just the first time I've had to answer this question.
So you don't actually have an answer to many of the questions that you're asked?
Not until I'm asked them, no.
That's helpful. So I think the last thing, unless I've got anything else that I find afterwards, is about the tour. Everyone wants to know why you haven't been to places like America or South Africa and all that. Why haven't you been there, and will you ever go?
Touring is an odd phenomenon.
Using your favourite word.
I don't like touring.
You don't?
No, I
You don't
don't.
like seeing people?
I do.
You do.
You see, it's a complete contrast. I don't like going away for weeks at a time. I don't like staying in hotels. I don't like waiting in airports. I don't like flying in airplanes. I don't like airports, hotels. All I see when I'm on tour, airports, hotels, inside of bookstores, inside of malls, inside of, libraries and theaters, and, it's me, I'm backstage, I'm on stage, I'm signing books, I'm in a car, I'm moving on. I don't get to see where I am, I don't get to relax, I don't get to chill out. Being on tour is my least favorite part of being a writer. Meeting people is one of the best parts of being a writer. Meeting them, talking to them, signing their books, putting a name to a face to a name. That a person I've only, encountered on Twitter or the blog, or the Facebook page. That's the best part.
Yeah.
Meeting the readers, some of them multiple times every year. Not naming any names.
Not naming any names and just slyly sort of nodding towards me, yeah.
So that's the best part.
Thank you.
That is the best part. But actually being on tour, I hate it.
Yeah.
So I've never complained about not going to America or South Africa or Africa or, I've never complained, because while I would love to meet the readers there, I don't want to spend all that time on a plane. I don't want to spend all that time in airports, in hotel rooms, in this and that. The reason why we haven't gone, the reason why we haven't gone to, well, I haven't gone on tour in America is because America, the books aren't big enough to warrant a tour. It's America, the publishers basically messed up. They fumbled. They were the most enthusiastic people when I signed the contract. They loved the books. They loved the book. They were so excited, so thrilled, and they were so uber confident in this. But the closer we got to the publishing date, the more nervous they became. And suddenly they started second guessing themselves. Suddenly they started going, will this sell? Oh dear God. It has a skeleton on the cover, and they liked Tom's artwork, but they thought it was too creepy. It was too gothic. It was too I don't know what they thought. So they went for another artist, and it was dreadful.
It is dreadful. My friend from America sent me the first book, and I don't really like the cover, but,
Yeah. Bad covers, given the wrong impression.
The back, I think, on the blurb, it says something that's completely wrong as well, so I just thought, ugh, it's terrible.
Yeah. I mean, their first release was with a Tom cover, but it was just handled so badly. And then the moment it stumbled, they panicked and they re-released it with a new cover, and then they re-released, again and again and again. They just messed up. They got too nervous. It wasn't, and they don't trust their audience. Like, they don't trust the American readers to make up their own minds. And I think that's where they went wrong. There was, they overthought it. The UK, Ireland, Australia, you know, Canada, you know, for that initial release,
Yeah.
we thought about it as much as we needed to, and we trusted the readers. That's what we did, and it worked. So because it fumbled in the States, the first 3 books did not sell well. I didn't want to sell the next 3 books to them, and so I haven't sold them to anyone in the States yet.
Do you think you
So
will?
if there's a movie,
Hmm.
then yeah, because suddenly, you know, everyone will be going, please can we publish your books, please.
And you
But
can pick the best deal.
yeah, yeah. But so that's why we haven't. And you know, basically, I'm sent wherever the books sell to enough of a degree to warrant a tour. Germany is massive. So every year I'm in Germany. Every 2 years I'm in Australia, New Zealand, because they sell massive over there as well. You know, the as much as basically I don't complain if I don't have to go on another bloody airplane. So I'm not really going to kick up a fuss, as much as I would love to meet, you know, readers in, you know, Asia, in Russia, in, you know, Eastern Europe, and, you know, Africa, America. You know, I would love to, but the more time I'm on tour, the less time I have writing. And the more time I'm on tour, the grumpier I am. So, yeah. That's the one nice thing about the book stumbling in America. I don't have to tour America until they actually sell well. Yeah. Even though the book, and despite all this, despite the American police floundering, the American readership is growing simply because of word of mouth, simply because, you know, people are telling their friends about it. You know, like I just Skyped yesterday with 20 people,
I
19
heard.
girls and a guy in Seattle. And you know, they're telling their friends, and the teachers are telling their students, and the librarians are telling their customers. You know, it's growing. It's a very small, quiet group of people in the know, and they are spreading. You know, they're like a plague. Given enough time, they will probably take over America.
Your own private minion army will take over.
That's all I want.
That's all you want. And this is why you really want the teleporter powers, so you don't have to deal with the planes.
You see?
It would be useful for you.
Yeah.
It really would be useful for you. So, that's it. Unless you wish to say anything else to anybody.
I think all my words have been used up.
They have. Okay, well, thank you for agreeing to this interview. It was quite fun, and I'm sure my mum's like stood right outside saying, "Why are you still awake? What are you doing?" But
it's only 11:15.
It's only 11:15. It's not 2 a.m. still writing history essays. It's not too bad. See, it's not too bad. Well, yeah, I think that's it. So thanks again, and Becky says hi as ever.
Of course she does.
She also says that she's offended because they're doing a running commentary of this. I told them that you'd said that you hated touring the most, and now they're saying, "God, we get the picture." So yeah, she's just a tiny bit like crying about that, but she'll get over it by the time she sees you next.
But no matter how much I hate touring, it's always the Uber fans that really make me scared.
Really? We'll try to be friendlier next time, I swear.
You're so friendly.
So friendly.
No, I happen to have some of the coolest readers around. It's nice.
I did meet a different author on Friday, shock horror, And there were two people there who really liked the series as well. When I mentioned your name, it was like the world exploded, and that was quite cool.
Who's who was the writer?
I was at an event with Patrick Ness.
Patrick. He's so cool.
Patrick.
We have the same agent.
Do you?
Yeah.
Michelle Cass, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So, yes. Yeah, no, I just happen to have some rather cool leaders who make themselves known, who organize, and
Organise.
yeah.
Slightly intimidating. Well, I'll probably speak to you a bit more after this, and then I'll finally leave you alone. Leave
Okie
me
dokie.
alone. So, yeah, we'll quit here, and thanks to you for everything, and I hope you have a nice night from now on.
Thank you.
See you later, Derek.
Bye.
Say goodbye to the YouTube.
Bye, YouTube.